and welcome back to Otaku no Video. As always, thank you very much for joining me for today's review of Infinite Ryvius, and I'm very happy to be reviewing this for you today because Ryvius is one of my little fan favorite anime. It's one of those things that I don't know that I would rank it, incredibly high on my list of overall, anime that I just adore, but it's one of those little things that very few people know about and I think is extremely high quality for what it's trying to do. Ryvius was made in 1999 by the studio Sunrise, makers of Gundam, and released in 1999, and came out over here a couple of years afterwards and died. No one paid any attention to it, really. It got very little attention. A couple of reviews here and there, folks saying, wow, what is this? But it got very little fan attention and just quietly disappeared. And this is criminal. Ryvius deserves huge accolades, partly because of its premise. Basically, it's set at an astronaut's academy in space. So think of a giant space station where a whole bunch of teenagers, this is set several hundred years in the future, so all these teenagers come to train for living in space. Now this is hard science fiction, so it's literally about living in a weightless environment, putting on space suits and going out and dealing with, regular space stuff. It's very realistic, just with technology sort of pushed forward. But the idea is, you need to be trained in these things. So these are about 500, I believe, teenagers who are all training to live and work in space. And then a terrorist event occurs, and this is all episode 1 stuff. Terrorist event occurs, and the instructors all race to resolve it, and basically the instructors all end up dying to save the station and keep it going, leaving the rest of the students to live and survive in the space station. And other stuff happens requiring them to essentially move on and stay in space. So basically you have hundreds of teenagers who are all left fending for themselves. Now a lot of folks have called Ryvius Lord of the Flies in space, and like a lot of these cute, simple little descriptions, that is cute and little, but really not accurate because, well, I won't go into all the details because we only have so much time here, but Lord of the Flies has a very different theme and is trying to say very different things than Ryvius. Ryvius is about people coping as best they can. And one of the ways it does that is by dividing up the cast among several different groups. Ryvius is a very large cast. There are about 20 named main characters that you will recognize and follow throughout the course of this 26-episode TV series. So it's a lot of characters, a lot of stuff going on, and you get to see them dealing with this incredibly huge problem. So that changes over the course of the series. Now, this is a drama, and this is one of the reasons why I think Ryvius is so remarkable. There's very little comedy. There's a little romance here and there, although that's more spice than anything else. But it's not characters running around chasing tail. This is a drama about characters in an impossible situation, and teenagers no less, trying to deal with that. And the thing is, none of these teenagers are the chosen one. None of them have what it takes, really. And it's seeing how they deal with that, and how do you figure out who gets food, water, living accommodations, who does what. I mean, this is a really tough situation. And Ryvius handles that with serious realism, using hard science fiction, meaning realistic science fiction. There's no ridiculous technology that no one, that just happens to work. Now there are some unexplainable phenomenon, at least initially in the series, in terms of things happening. So there's some fantasy elements, although those are kind of explained as the series goes on. So it's not totally hard science fiction, but the world is hard science fiction. There's just weird things happening in the context of this, which keeps it interesting. And these teenagers trying to understand what's going on in this ship. And that's what I like, is that this is a series about watching characters deal, which is quite remarkable. And like I said, it kind of came in and came out and nobody really paid any attention, which is a real shame. Now, if you like goofy comedies, this is not for you. But if you like something that's really serious and has bite to it, this is quite interesting. To give you an idea, and this is, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but I got up to the next to the last episode, and I honestly was not sure if everyone was going to live or everyone was going to die. And both of those endings felt appropriate. I was up near the end and I thought it could go either way and I would feel okay with that. They've set up, the problem being that big and being that difficult that it actually made sense, which is, again, really remarkable. So that's Ryvius. I hope more people check it out. If you do, please stop by the forum and talk about it. I'll start a thread on the forum talking about Ryvius a little bit. And I'm actually planning on recording another video in which I'm going to go into a bit more detail about Ryvius if you're interested in it and are willing to live with a little more information about the show. I try to keep these reviews very spoiler-free. But if you want to, if you want me to delve a little bit further without doing any major spoilers, I'm going to do a video about that. I'm not sure when that'll come out, but it'll come out at some point. So, yeah, that's coming. So please stop by the forum, the chat room, all that stuff at otakunovideo.net. That page will show you everything and get you where you need to go. So thanks for that, and I hope that more of you will experience Infinite Ryvius.